Campaigners on both sides are wishing Donald Trump well, but with the country in crisis and just 31 days to go until the election, people are starting to wonder seriously what happens if the president doesn't recover fairly soon. The US Constitution sets out the process, and this is the really crucial section, the 25th Amendment, which has almost every eventuality covered. Here's what happens if the president is communicative but unable to carry on, however temporarily. Donald Trump would have to write that he's handing over his duties to the Vice President, Mike Pence. But if he's unexpectedly incapacitated, a majority of the cabinet needs to agree that it is, in fact, Mr. Pence who takes charge. For Mr. Trump to regain power after this, Congress would have to be convinced that he had sufficiently recovered. If 2/3 of both chambers vote to disagree, Vice President Pence would stay in charge until the next election, so the 3rd of November.
Pence might become acting president at this point if Trump is ill enough. For example, if he was moved into ICU, they might say that they were going to make Pence acting president. It has happened in the past that a nominee has died between the point at which his party nominated him for the presidency and the election. That has happened. And when that happens, again, there are clear rules. The party then decides who the nominee is.
But for a sitting US president, it is real uncharted territory. If Donald Trump is unable to stand in the US election, it's even more chaotic because more than 1 million postal votes have already been cast. In that event, it would come down to the Electoral College, those bound by law to vote for a candidate based on the results of the election in their state. But if who they've been mandated to vote for isn't available anymore, there are no rules to follow. The presidential and vice presidential candidate run together, so electors could stay loyal to their party by switching their vote to Mike Pence. Alternatively, electors could be released from their pledge to vote for President Trump and vote for Joe Biden instead. It's Congress, though, who ultimately counts those Electoral College votes, and they could follow a completely different course. Whether at a state or a national level, if President Trump's condition does worsen, this will likely end up in the courts. Since 1778, the US election has proceeded as planned, even in the most tumultuous times, through civil war and 2 world wars. But the coronavirus continues to change the course of history.